What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, for this video, we're going to be jumping into some Catwoman, issue number 31. Now, this is written by the amazing and talented Ram V. Pencils are Fernando Blanco, and the inks are the same. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead and check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you caught up on everything related to Catwoman that's been going on in the recent line. And this will be the last video that I drop today. Stay tuned tomorrow because we're going to be covering our Indie Comics weekend, including some Intergalactic Deathmatch issue number 2, Geiger issue number 2, and some other ones that we'll be covering on Sunday. So with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so issue number 31, it brings us with Catwoman and Shoes. Now they've crashed a art gallery opening at Mr. Roy's manor, if you will. And the opening scenes, we see Catwoman just taking a hurl of gunfire from bodyguards. Something went awry, something went astray, and she seems to be pinned down. But this is when she comes up. She uses her whip, her amazing acrobatic skills, and she starts beating the crap out of these guys. And this is where we see her grab a chair and throw it out the window. And she's about to jump out, but this is when Mr. Roy shoots a bullet and it grazes her. And she stops, dead in her tracks. Now Catwoman, she's here for a very specific reason. She's here to steal Poison Ivy, because Mr. Roy, he seems to be keeping her prisoner. And Mr. Roy, he lets her know that he can't lose Ivy, but all he has is Catwoman right now. And so he asks her one simple question: how did you do it? And she tells him, like any trick, the secret is always misdirection. And it all started with a simple handshake. A handshake between her and Mr. Roy. And this is when we're taken earlier in the night. And this is where we see Catwoman masquerading as someone she's not, pretending to be one of these high-class, high-society individuals. And she is the life of the party. Everybody adores her, everybody loves her, everybody is striving and thriving for her attention. And as these festivities continue, this is when Mr. Roy goes to show off a painting that he had just recently acquired and kind of wanted to brag to everybody about. And he goes to reveal the painting, the curtain falls, but there is nothing there. It is just a blank wall with a plaque. And so with the painting being gone, his security scrambled. They jumped into action and predictably ran to check on his prized possession. That's how Catwoman knew where Poison Ivy was being kept. And when she shook his hand, she had sprayed some citrus on it. That way when he touched the keypad, his fingerprints would be left on it. And we see that this enchantress, if you will, of high society transform into Catwoman, making her way through the ventilation systems into the door that Poison Ivy is being kept. Entering this key code, it brings her inside where she sees Poison Ivy is suspended in some kind of liquid in a test tube. Now, getting her out of this test tube, Poison Ivy seems to be in some really rough shape. She tries to speak, but it comes out as some kind of almost nursery rhyme. Almost like her mind is just truly damaged. But this is what Mr. Roy doesn't understand. Like, how did Poison Ivy get out of here? Because his guards have been watching every single exit. And this is when he realizes that Catwoman, she's been stalling. Because what they had done is they had taken Poison Ivy and put her into the ducts. This is where Shoe was on the other side waiting. Now Shoes, along with the Alleytown Strays, they posed as the catering. And so the entire evening, the high society was being served by none other than Catwoman's minions. And this gave them opportunity to be able to put Poison Ivy into one of the serving carts and simply walk her right out the front door without anybody noticing. And Catwoman made enough of a distraction so all of them came chasing after her. And this is where Mr. Roy, he realizes, like, she really did it. She pulled this heist off, and there is no way of getting her back. And he tells Catwoman, like, you don't understand. Like, I was supposed to destroy her, but I couldn't. I didn't, and that was my mistake. And he tells her, yeah, I know that you're not afraid, but you should be. You've stolen the one piece of evidence that implicates his employer. and his employer is not going to be pleased. Simon Saint is not going to be pleased. And this is when Mr. Roy takes his gun and puts it to his own temple and pulls the trigger. Now Catwoman, she is sitting here just in disbelief. Disbelief that this man just took his life after everything that he's done. Well, no, how powerful he was playing himself to be, but whoever this Simon Saint is, this individual, she needs to find out. She needs to know who he is, because if he can instill this kind of fear, she has no idea what kind of danger lies ahead of her. She doesn't know how deep she is really digging this grave. And this is where we pick up an upscale building in an apartment where we find Simon Saint. And he's sitting here with his new creation, Rhea. Now, right now, this city, they don't know him, but he vows that they are going to know him. They're going to remember him as a man who finally brought some kind of harmony to Gotham City. Now, he sees the masks, the capes, the cowls scurrying around in the night. They are all symptoms of a disease, a city with a broken body mirroring its broken soul. Now, he sits here with the White Witch. Whatever he's done to her, he has perfected her. He has made her a living weapon, and he is going to use her in some kind of capacity to help scourge Gotham City of everything that he sees as a symptom to the disease. And starting tomorrow, everybody is going to be focusing on Alleytown, from the GCPD to everybody else. They are going to make it their top priority to get all the criminal elements out of Alleytown and kind of do some regentrification to the area. And this is when he tasked the White Witch with hunting down Poison Ivy and Catwoman. Now, this is when we're taken to an abandoned Grove street terminal building in Alleytown. Kind of like a temporary hideout for them right now while they're laying low. Now, this is where we see Catwoman. She makes her way inside, and going inside, she goes looking for Poison Ivy and Shoes. And she tries to initiate some kind of conversation with Poison Ivy, but Poison Ivy's mind, it's just not there right now. And a lot of what she's doing is what's referred to as mirroring. So she can kind of know what the other person is feeling, and so she expresses it. Now, they're realizing that they're going to need to get some kind of help for Poison Ivy to try to fix her mind. And she also lets them know that she's going by Ivy now. There's no longer Poison, just Ivy. So whatever's happened to her really has had some kind of effect, possibly even causing like a split personality situation. Now, Shoes and Catwoman, they have a conversation of where their friend may be because he hasn't returned yet. He hasn't returned because he never made it back. He got captured and is being interrogated. We see him getting tortured right now, and our top hat priest sitting here telling him it's time to have a confession. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. You know, Ram V, like I've been saying, he's an amazing writer. I really enjoy his work, and he's done phenomenally so far with the Swamp Thing and various other writings that he's been doing for DC Comics. You know, Catwoman does play a very pivotal role in what's to come in the Future State event and helping Batman and helping take down the Magistrate, or at least attempt to. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you don't miss any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown,